Typically what we do when we clean a rental, we are going to start from the top to the bottom, and we're going to go left to right, so we can keep track of every aspect of it and not lose track of something. If we start over here, then we go over here, then we start over here, then a lot of times details will be missed. There will be a little bit in the bathroom though. It is slightly a different situation because starting the shower and letting the chemicals soak in the shower saves you time. After you rinse, while it's drying, you can work on the toilet. Then you'll go back, hand dry everything, polish, and then go back, get under the toilet, get everything, get the sink. That's the best way we found that works the most efficiently. So typically we'll take the broom, and while the shower is dry, we're going to get underneath everything, sweep all the hair out. Because when the hair gets wet, it gets to be a mess. This is a root penetrator. It is fantastic for getting the pink mold along these edges and along these bits. It's black and pink. So what you do is, this is fumey though. So if there is a door or window to open, I would suggest you do it. Definitely this is a major place for spraying it because it gets really bad right underneath that little lip right there. You can let that sit, and during that time, you can also apply Kaboom. Kaboom is also kind of fumey, so you have to watch out. Make sure you have ventilation, say an open window, the exhaust fan going on. And Kaboom is great for soap scum. So you'll spray that where you see soap scum happen, where it shower hits and it bounces off of the body. So typically lower. You're going to let that soak for a little bit. Now what you're going to do, you're going to start, apply that to the toilet. We also use Spick and Span, which is an antibacterial. So anytime you have children or anything like that, it's always good to use antibacterial products on the toilet. And also on anything that anybody can get their hands on. So just simple. It recommends that you let it set for about 5 to 10 seconds. So you're going to go like this, and then you're going to start top to bottom. Especially on the black tile, this does help, and once you polish it, it's going to look fantastic. And again, we're kind of doing the left to right, so I won't miss too many spots, I hope. So if you figure it this way, the easiest way to see what a renter or a guest might focus on, two things. When you're in the shower, stand in the shower and look around like you're taking a shower. See what their eye would be caught first. Then sit on the toilet and look around like you're sitting on the toilet for a few minutes and take a look around at what they might see and focus on that. And that will make it a lot easier for you for when a guest comes to envision what they might be looking at and what they might catch, because if they don't see anything during those 2 times, then the place is clean. So see how the mildew came up? I didn't even have to scrub it. Basically, I just kind of wiped it away. So the stuff that's in the grout, what we're going to do is we're going to treat it again really quick, because I really didn't hit that. I focused on the corners. But if you notice, if you just leave it there, you really don't have to scrub. On the corners, on the edges here, just run it like that. Run it underneath here. Make sure you get every single little hair on the bottom here. And then try to get up all of any type of oils or grease. One good thing also, if you have, which typically down here a lot of people wear lotion or suntan oil and stuff, it rinses down and it gets stuck in here. A degreaser is always the best way to go. But you always want to scrub these so you can get as much sand and degreaser as possible in here. So we have a Grease Lightning. It's just a real quick application, and it'll get up any of that greasy. So you want to use the hottest water to rinse everything so it evaporates on its own. And you just basically especially with these pebble bases, you have to rinse them, you can't squeegee them because of all the grooves. And then once that's done, you let it sit for a minute, evaporate. It'll help with the drying faster. Then I jump over here to the toilet. Now, some people use rags. I use paper towels in the toilet just because you never know what little kid has gotten all over their hands and everything like that. So I always start at the top. Now here's where I'm going to step back just a little bit, and that's mainly because with the close proximity, the closeness of the toilet to the light, I don't want when I'm going to dust off this light to come onto the toilet. So you just and so you'll just run that over, make sure all top areas. Right here, go like this, and then the easiest way we do the blinds is crank them closed. Open. And then you're going to feel they're good. If not, you can always go like this if you feel that it needs a little extra work. Make sure you get this, run along here, windowsills, right along the edge, got it, right here. Anything that when you're looking at it, you're gonna see as a renter. So back to the toilet, because I don't want any more stuff to fall down and get on the toilet. That's why top to bottom is always best. For here. If you have Clorox cleanup, just put a couple squirts right there, leave it. Let it sit for maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then all the brown comes out, and then it comes up real nice. So any type of bleach will do that. So that's one of my big things. So always get the down here like that. Get the edges anywhere that anybody might touch. And again, you've already sprayed the antibacterial, so most of the bacteria that you might be exposed to is already dead. If you have any stains, this is a pumice stone. It gets the stains that are under here really amazingly well. And it takes care of any of the black stuff. On this, and flush. Then we're going to take terry cloths, or like, you know, old washcloths, stuff like that. I do the car wash, or like Miyagi, wax on, wax off. You just dry this until it polishes. And see, a lot of the water's already evaporated. And see, while you're over here, you can always hit this thing too. Get under this lip right here, make sure it's nice and dry. And then while you're down here, you go by hand. There you go. Aye. So for the lights, best thing to do is make sure they're not hot. And then like that, don't touch the glass because there's possibility the glass might be hot and might break, especially with cold chemicals. And then I always like getting in here. I shut this thing, get around here. Sometimes it's bad, so I pull the thing up and I get a toothbrush. And you can get under here, get under there. Yeah. And then you just want to get up anything that, especially right along here, is always a problem. So you just got to get that because oils will build up right there. And then you just polish. To protect the laminate floor, we use Bona laminate. And this is just a spray and wipe application. Sometimes if you get those extra stains around there, the Clorox cleanup is always good. If you see anything in the corners are very important. And while I'm doing the corner, I'm gonna look at possibly using a little bit more of the root penetrator right along that problem area right here. Because this is grout, can't do anything about that, but we can maybe do something about this. So we're gonna put this here. And let it sit. And then all we should have to do is wipe. Sometimes when it's stuff that we can't do, sometimes the best thing to do is call maintenance and see if they'll put another layer of white silicone caulk. And that usually freshens up. Like anything along this, it's always a good idea to put another caulk line along here, and it just freshens up the whole look immediately. So in keeping with the top to bottom, left to right approach, start with the fan first because it's going to rain down anything, just in case it hasn't been done a couple of visits, it's going to rain down everything. You want it all down before you make the bed. Because it's plastic, you can just do a little spick and span to try to keep the dust, mitigate the dust from coming down. And then you just do each blade. Around the edge, over the top, over the bottom. Around the edge, over the top, and the bottom. And get around here too, because that always seems to catch. Around the edge, bottom, top here. And the top here. And there you go. If you see any bugs or anything like that, call maintenance and have them detach this. Sometimes it's simple, you can just do it quick like that, but sometimes it's easier just have the maintenance guy come do it. But they can just pull this down, wash that out, and get back up. We're going to start over there with doing the higher objects. Depending on how much time you have to turn the room, you can just do a quick Swiffer. So it's the first thing you see when you get in bed is see nightstands. Or the nightstands at the top of the headboards. Sometimes if the headboard has more intricate than you, that's the front of the headboard. Always hold the items too when you're dusting them, because if they fall or tip or come detached, you can catch it right away. Whereas if you're not holding it, you're just dusting it like this, it falls, and then it's hard for you to catch. Again, do the blinds. Top part. This is what's great about these extenders. Sometimes these do have filter systems that are on the top. They're air intakes and they need to be cleaned. That would be something you would talk to your supervisor, whether they want you to take that apart or they would rather have maintenance kind of pop that. They just pop right up, you rinse them out and put them back in. Also, let's read through here. We're going to hit this. Now if you feel that it's kind of not sparkling like it should, you can always use a stainless steel a little bit up there. A couple little sprays will do it. And then it'll shine again. Also, typically don't use any products at all on the screen. If anything, use a completely clean and dry microfiber and buff the spots. Like if there's a fingerprint or a handprint, just gently buff the spots. And then, especially when somebody spatters a drink all over the front of the TV, just very gently, dry, no Windex, no other sprays, no nothing, just dry microfiber, and just hit the spots. Then you'll take your Swiffer, it still looks good, and you'll go back. Make sure to take care of not detaching any type of wiring or anything, but you're just going to run along the back side. And then any type of surface that could possibly catch any type of dust in any way, shape, or form, or hair. Any edges, anything like that. So now we've worked our way around this way around the room. If there's a go back to that I usually like to do, if you have time, take that handy dandy broom you got and just run it along the baseboards. And as long as the top edge of the baseboard looks good, everything looks good. I always recommend using real Windex. These are refilled bottles of real Windex. Real Windex works. Real Windex is the best thing out there, and it does save you time. Yes, it costs a little bit more money, but it gives you the clean you want. You just try to get all the handprints, any type of, what happens is hair will stick on the windows and stuff like that. So even though maybe you don't need to do the whole glass every single time, maybe do it once really good and then spot clean after that. Tracks are very important too. They always catch everything. This is something I would probably hit with a vacuum when I go through and vacuum the floor. We'll just get all the tracks clear so then the doors open and close well. And it really only takes a minute with the right attachment. In here, just make sure all the hanging bars are clean. Make sure all the shelves are clean. Make sure you have all your extra linens for any type of extra guests that might stay. And then hit the baseboards, just like we did around the perimeter of the bedroom. So for the kitchen, it's always good to have some type of ladder or anything like that, because standing on these things, even though handy and sometimes you have to do it, it's always better to have a ladder when you're having to reach up on the high items. Again, we're going to start with the same concept. Start high from left, to right. So we're gonna work on lighting and cabinet. Grease lightning, spick and span and Windex are my typical go-tos. Also, soft scrub for the sink. Start up here and work your way down. On this laminate, again, spick and span or Windex works great. Don't need anything really heavier than that. When you're dealing with coffee and oils, the grease lightning is the way to go. Also make sure the insides of here are good. If you find that you have a few handprints, the grease lightning again, which is a degreaser, going on the edges. I'm done. I'm done. For coffee makers, grease lightning is the best thing ever because it will get rid of all the brown stuff in the bottom. So you just pop off the tops, real easy, and spray the grease lightning in there, let it set, spray the grease lightning on the bottom, let it set, and then sit there for a minute or two, and then you wipe it, it's all clean. And it's not, and this you'll wash out, so they don't get any residue from that. Depending on if it's sticky or not, you'll use this or this. No sticky, we'll use this. Always open up the toaster. And one thing I always learn, clean the sink last. Because you're always going to get it dirty with something else. Sometimes if you get on the top, you take a clean toothbrush and you just go around the top. Done. Alright, so now we've wiped off our area. Put our toaster back together again. Again, if it's unplugged, you can stick it like that. If it's plugged in, or you can plug it in, or you can go around like that, meaning it's clean. Typically, if you have an oven that's bad, sometimes I say when you first walk in the room, check the oven. If the oven's kind of then go ahead and spray it just a little on the bottom, just to get those spots. You can also spot clean it too, because a lot of times you don't have time to mess with the oven. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull out any chunks. Put it away. Sometimes if it's dry and it's just a lot of little chunks, you can always take the vacuum cleaner and, believe it or not, suck it out. If it's greasy though, I wouldn't recommend doing that with your vacuum cleaner. Another thing we do is if the glass is dirty, we have razor blades. Razor blade is the quickest way to clean the glass. It won't scratch it, and it'll get up any type of explosions or spills or anything like that inside the oven. If the oven looks dirty, as long as the glass looks clean, it's all about perception. So you just run it along the side and just get any type of extra spots. And then once you get the spots and any type of extra food or stuff like that, then you just take Windex and then ta-da! It looks good. Then by that time this is ready to go. You get in here and you just spot clean it. Ta-da! front. Alright. For the stove, the top of the stove, if it's a little something like that, grease lightning, spray it, put it right there. And then get around the edges, get around the top, you're good to go. The place that's usually forgotten about on a regular basis is the top of the microwave. And also the top of the refrigerator too. If the refrigerator's been done, you can always just take a Swiffer and go quickly. If not, just shift around. Go ahead. Always pull the plate out, especially if it smells like popcorn. This is where, and again, I like to use the spick and span. There, wash. On this stuff, always empty out all these trays full of ice. You don't want any ice that's in there because you never know what people might have put in there, like alcohol or something to make pops. You don't want to expose that to somebody who's not drinking. And then you're going to, usually the spick and span, again, great product. Go through, wipe everything out, pull these things out, open up the drawer. Sometimes the drawer comes out really easily. Get under there, get all around, and then get this edging too, and where the hands go. It's always nice when you grab it and there's not handprints, food, or anything like that. So for the couch, a lot of times sand will get in here. A lot of people will just come and plop down on the couch. So you got to make sure to take apart the couch every single time and check for any type of things that might have been left behind, personal items that might have been left behind, maybe some cookies or crackers, and also that get in there because people will eat on these couches as well. So don't be afraid to take the couch completely apart and then vacuum it. Just take attachment. Another thing to do is there's storage under these couches too. So you're going to want to lift and discover any storage underneath and vacuum. So typically there's two different ways you can do the floor. Preferably the vacuum is the best way to go. Sometimes if it's extra dirty, using a Bona mop with the microfilia, going over the whole floor, getting all the hair up, gets underneath the furniture and everything really easily. It's a great way of getting up the large pieces. Gets under here, and you can go around the edges, get that. Next step is vacuum. Typically we use a schmop, a large terry cloth base. You can wash them very easily, and we'll use either Bona laminate or Vinegar Fabuloso. If the floor is really bad, there's been a lot of traffic, a lot of stickiness, white vinegar with a little splash of Fabuloso goes a long way. You also don't want to put a lot of water on these type of floors because sometimes it'll cause the flooring to pop up. So just spray semi-generously. Again, you want to use the same principles of starting in the farthest corner and working your way out the door. And then you buff. Sometimes some spots need a little extra buffing than others. And then if you see that one spot that just needs a little extra work, white vinegar will bring it right up without doing any damage to the floors in any way, shape, or form. It'll also help get up any extra hair that maybe have gotten missed from the vacuum cleaner. And voila.